This video is not for whales and dolphins, it's for you because you are just like me. Average Luck Gamer here, and today we are going to be breaking down the Prydwen tier list and having a little bit of a chat about where some of the new agents have gone in and some changes that have taken place. So first things first, what has changed in terms of, the actual tier list itself is that Yidhari is coming in. And they're saying that Yidhari slots well into the ongoing Rupture meta, has great teams, thanks to the recently released Lucia, earning her place immediately in T0.5. Fair. As usual, we'll monitor her moving forward to see if any adjustments to this rating are required. After the community gets their hands on her, we'll see how she performs in endgame across a larger sample size. It's felt like, Lycan was potentially, way overperforming as a stun agent for her, which is actually really good because a lot of people will just have access to him without pulling a specific Rupture stun agent, someone like Jufufu. So I do think that over time we might discover more tech and stuff, and there is a chance that she could be considered slightly better than T0.5. But if I'm totally honest, I think she's in the right spot. I don't think she belongs any higher than this. I don't think she belongs any lower than this with these T1 characters. I think that she's in the right spot in T0.5. I think if I'm also totally honest, when the Rupture meta shifts and we shift away from huge shield buffs for Rupture agents and bosses designed around Rupture mechanics, I actually think that she might very well be one of the first Rupture agents to drop down a tier. I think Yishuan probably has more staying power. I think Manito also will probably stay in the same tier, and she could potentially drop down. So that, I actually just think that she's not that great. Waifu over meta. Okay, then let's talk about Miyabi, because Miyabi was on watch last time. This phase, Miyabi has maintained her incredibly high popularity, continues to be the most played character in endgame, while still putting up solid scores despite the disadvantage discussed in our last update. For the time being, we're going to maintain our watch list on her, but if she continues to work despite so many mechanics being against her, we'll remove it in the upcoming phases. So essentially, they're saying that they are going to keep the watch icon on Miyabi, which I think is fair. I do think that she's... At a baseline, I think Miyabi is a stronger character than Yishuan. If everything was neutral and everything was equal, I think Miyabi is a stronger character than Yishuan. But when the game starts working against you with buffs that aren't favorable, with enemies that can't be frozen, with enemies with anomaly debuffs, it kind of has resulted in the situation that we were seeing now, where Miyabi is actually less effective than she was before. Not necessarily through any fault of her own. They've not nerfed her in any way, but they have nerfed the content around her so that she can't perform in a way that's just hugely better than everyone else. And in a way, I understand that. Do I think that they've maybe gone a touch too far? Maybe just a smidge, but honestly, I kind of do get it. They want to encourage you to play different characters, different teams. That's fair enough. I think it's also fair to keep her on watch for now. Orphie. Okay, so this is the big one, right? So Orphie has moved up to tier 0, which is interesting. So Orphie, in the teams that Orphie is good in, namely those with Sambi and Seed, she's currently performing above her T0.5 placement on average for the general player base. We now have multiple phases of data and feedback to confirm this isn't a one-off case, therefore we're moving her up to T0 for the current meta. I think this is as a result of, Aftershock performing extremely well, Aftershock having very favorable buffs, and double attacker comps in particular also having very favorable buffs. So I don't think it's a huge shock that Orphie is here, but I do think it's a little bit recency biased, and it is likely to probably change. I don't think that she's going to remain here. I could be wrong about that. Watch the first Ether Res DA boss absolutely dumps the Yishuan and calls a watch list. That would be so funny. Ellen? Oh, did they move Ellen down? Oh, shit. They moved Ellen to T1.5, boys. It's happening. What the fuck is going on with Hugo? Bruh. Why aren't we talking about Hugo? He still doesn't have the partner tag. Put him on watch for fuck's sake. Why is she here and he's not? Also, anyway, whatever, man. Let's see what they gotta say. Okay, Ellen. The current meta, especially in Deadly Assault across the last few patches, hasn't been a good match for Ellen, and her performance has taken a hit. For the time being, we're following through on our watch list from last time to move her down, but we look forward to returning to her as she bounces back under more favorable conditions. Not even a mention of Hugo. Oh, there is a mention of Hugo. What are they saying about Hugo? We're not moving or watchlisting Hugo, but are aware, similar to Ellen, that he is currently struggling compared to some of his peers on T1 average. With that said, it's not to the degree that we feel forced to make any changes yet, and we're hopeful the tides will soon turn in his favor in upcoming patches via new supportive characters or bosses. Wait. So... What does that even mean, man? What's that even mean, dude? Oh, that doesn't make any sense. Someone is Hugo main. Yeah, did R2 write this? R2, did you write this? Yeah, it's like, yeah, he might. Yeah, we're hopeful things might change for him, so we're gonna leave him where he is. But we're hopeful things might change for him, so we're gonna leave him where he is. But like, we've obviously just because of like aftershock buffs, we're putting Orphie in T1, in T0 with Vivian. I feel like it should be based on current meta, or it should be based on potential future meta. Just pick one. Pick one. All right, what else are they saying? G1's performance in this phase has been strong enough that we're choosing not to follow through on our watch list from last update and keeping her in T1 for now. Does she still have watch icon? Wait. Oh no, she's not watched. She's not watched now. Okay. Yeah, I don't feel strongly for or against that. I don't really think that matters. Okay, Lighter. As mentioned in our last update when we watch listed him, Lighter is currently closer in power and meta relevancy to characters in T0.5 compared to those within T0. With the continual move towards Rupture and the absolutely dominant performance put up by Lucia, this fact has been reinforced. Based on this, we're adjusting his rating down to sit alongside Trigger, who we believe to be closer in performance for the time being. Yeah, so he's now moved to tier 0.5, which, to be clear, is an absolutely fine spot for an agent to be in. Like, a character in T0.5 is like an extremely, like, as they say, apex character. Like, he's extremely meta. He's a great pick in any Fire and Ice team that you can make him work in. Sometimes you might have to jump through a hoop or two to make him work in those teams. Like, for example, with Yidhari, you'd have to run either Lucia or Orphie because you want the additional ability to be active. Stuff like that. Sometimes you have to jump through a hoop. Sometimes it's really easy, like with a character like Evelyn, for example. So yeah, Pan's on watch. Okay, let's see what they've got to say about the other stuff. Pan, before the Rupture meta began, Panyan, who was delivering surprisingly solid results. Now with more characters to work with and a focus on Rupture, he's only improved. Based on this, we're assigning him a watch list to move him up. To be clear, move him up. Does he belong in T0.5? I don't think so, man. I don't know, man. Like the Dragon Warrior, like he's pretty chill. I think he's kind of fine where he is, though. I think for an A rank, he's pretty chill. He's fine where he is. He's not Sukaku, man. He's not Nicole. I like him. I don't think he deserves to be in T0.5. I think he's fine where he is. But Pan is ass. He's okay. Let's see what else they've got on the changelog. Oh yeah, the Hugo that we already read about. That is wild. The Hugo not being watch listed because things might get better. I don't know what the thumbnail is going to be for this video, because last time I was like, it's crazy that they're not watching Hugo. And then this time, they moved Ellen down, and they still haven't watch listed him. Let's just check out the rest of the list, see for any other changes. I still think that Evelyn is not T0 with the expert tag. Maybe... I still think that Evelyn probably deserves the expert tag to go away. I think even with her best team, Lighter and Astra, she's not at the same level as these two. Plus, we haven't really had Fire Week bosses that she can excel against recently, and that is what we're basing it on here in Prydwen Tierlist world, is like, it's what is the current meta, right? So she's not getting that. She's not going to be outputting this kind of damage. The only reason Miyabi's still up here is because we still have Dead End Butcher occasionally. The average player sucks with Evelyn. Look, I know she does have more complexity to her kit, but I don't think that makes her a T0 character. Look, I'm okay with her having an expert tag. Like, let me re-explain. I'm okay with her having an expert tag, but there's a part of me that thinks that she's not T1 even played at a non-expert level, and she's not T0 played at an expert level. She's T0 she's low T0.5 played at a non-expert level, and high T0.5 played at an expert level. And I think that's okay. I still think it's a little bit wild that Jifufu's all the way up here, especially because We're now realizing that Lycan's extremely good with Yidhari. Miyabi still on watch does make sense, but it does seem like they're angling towards probably removing the watch tag. She is still fine. She can still clear Wandering Hunter relatively okay. If you have a decently invested Miyabi, you can clear with the Miyabi, Lycan, Sukaku team. If you don't have a decently invested Miyabi, then you might need someone like Yuzuha or maybe double support in some respect. Foxwife is not having the best of times right now. And I don't think that the bosses are really going to line up for her that well moving forwards. I know they've said that they'll potentially remove the watch tag, but I think as we move forwards, stuff like Wandering Hunter's HP goes up and it gets harder to push through it with Miyabi, as in you need higher investment teams, you know, more limited S ranks. I think she either stays on watch or she may drop down, realistically. She's still worthy. I agree. I think she is still worthy. I think she's still the best character in the game. The game is just balanced against her. I don't agree. Everyone is comparing Miyabi low-cost team, literally just Sukaku and whoever, even Nicole, versus fully invested teams. At least 3 limited agents, if not with signatures on other agents. Do same investment on Miyabi and she's straight up better. Yeah, that's what I mean. At a baseline, I still think she's the strongest character in the game. I think that the game is just balanced against her. And she can still clear, like we talked about, Lycan Sukaku still clearing against Wandering Hunter now. But, you know, as HP goes up on Wandering Hunter, maybe it gets more tricky. Maybe you have to replace one of those characters. Look, can we just be real here? We're just like a couple of hundred dudes chatting about a video game. None of this matters.